RealAgriculture.com presents Under the Microscope with Biovision Seed Labs.
I'm Lyndsey Smith with RealAgriculture.com. I'm joined by Holly Gelech for this episode of Under the Microscope. We are at FarmTech.
Yes, very excited to be here today.
Yay, in your beautiful booth.
Thank you.
Under the microscope, we talk seed testing. Two kind of interesting things that you're seeing right now coming in regionally. Let's start with maybe CPS wheat. What are you seeing there that's maybe of interest?
Well, you know, this season, it has been fantastic for germinations. We're seeing wheat germinations averaging in the 93, 94, 95 range. We've seen barley, again, solid, peas quite solid, and soybeans absolutely fantastic compared to the last 2 years. But what we're seeing now as we're heading through the winter, we're starting to approach the springtime, is that seeds can start to deteriorate in the bin. Right. So there's two things that we see, and we'll first talk about CPS wheat, is that regionally in the Edmonton area, there's a lot of CPS wheat grown. And so we do a fair bit of testing right off the combine, and to date, the testing had been quite good. You're seeing some solid germinations. But what we're finding now, after seed has been processed, there's another set of samples that are coming in, and we are starting to see the CPS germination drop. So samples that were originally, 92, 93, 94 are now coming in at the 80s. So in talking to the agronomists that are working with the seed growers and that had experience in the field, is that we believe there is some type of trigger that happened during the harvest period. So during that harvest time, a lot of CPS wheat, it was a big heavy crop, and there was a lot of green straw in the matter. So there is some thoughts that some of this product was harvested potentially at a higher moisture and not at physiological maturity.
Okay, so now you've also noticed some interesting things with malt barley, which are probably also related to the harvest season that we had.
And that's quite true. Now, what we're seeing is a few malt barley samples from closer to the Red Deer, Central Alberta region, where, again, they were strong in the fall, but they are starting to drop in germination. Now, this is something that in our seed industry is common. It's not rare. It can happen. And that quite is pointed at the fact that barley was developed to sprout fast, right? As fast as possible. So it's very likely that some of these samples had some heavy dews at total physiological maturity. So they were ripe, they were ready to go, and a little bit of rain or heavy dews went on it, but it didn't trigger germination right then. But what could have happened in the course of being binned for the last 3 or 4 months, germination has started to trigger, the enzymes started to trigger, and now that because of that, the germination is not happening now. It had actually started back in the bin. Right.
And so, I mean, we're here end of January. When do you recommend that farmers start sending their samples in so that they've got, results in hand so they can make some of these decisions?
Now, if they tested in November and December, I'd wait. Submit us samples at the end of February, beginning of March. Don't leave it much later than the middle of March, because quite frankly, the germination test will take a couple weeks, right? So you want to have that result before you get into the field. Now, if you have not even submitted a sample to date, get it in right away.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lyndsey.